The night was thick with mist, wrapping the ancient streets of Paris in a veil of shadow. Torches flickered along narrow alleys, casting dancing, anxious light across stone walls that had seen centuries pass. Somewhere in the heart of the city, in the Temple of Paris, a sense of finality hung heavy. It was the last night the Knights Templar would gather within these walls, a night before history would turn its sharpest blade against them. The air was tense, almost reverent, as if the stones themselves were holding their breath. For decades, these warrior monks had been a force unlike any other, disciplined, wealthy beyond imagination, and fiercely devoted to a cause that stretched across the known world. They were the guardians of the Holy Land, protectors of pilgrims, and custodians of secrets too dangerous to be spoken aloud. But even as their banners swayed in the faint torchlight, they could not know that the dawn would bring betrayal, blood, and a darkness that would attempt to erase them from memory. The Templars had risen from humble beginnings, a small band of knights sworn to protect Christian pilgrims in Jerusalem. Over time, their role expanded beyond simple guardianship. They became bankers, diplomats, and warriors whose influence touched kings and popes alike. Wealth poured into their coffers from Europe, funding expeditions to the Holy Land and establishing a network of fortresses that spanned continents. Yet, beyond the castles, the libraries, and the grand halls, there existed an inner sanctum, a circle within the circle, a hidden core of knowledge and purpose. Few had ever glimpsed it, and fewer still could comprehend it. Rumors whispered that the Templars had discovered something beneath Solomon's temple, something that could change the course of history, a truth so profound it had to be protected at all costs. Perhaps it was relics, perhaps manuscripts, perhaps a lineage that traced back to the sacred kings of old. The outside world would never understand, and some would die trying to expose it. It was King Philip IV of France who became their executioner, though history often paints him simply as greedy or vengeful. In truth, he represented the full force of secular power confronting the growing influence of an order that was not easily controlled. On that fateful day in October of 1307, under the cover of night and with the blessing of the crown, knights loyal to the king stormed the Templar commanderies across France. Men who had sworn to die for the faith were seized in their beds, dragged from their homes, and imprisoned without trial. Many would never see daylight again. Yet, even in the face of betrayal, there was an eerie calm among the Templars. They had been trained for war, for sacrifice, for moments when the world seemed poised against them. Some whispered final prayers. Others prayed silently to a higher truth, one that they believed transcended the cruelty of kings and the fickleness of human law. The arrests were brutal, but the suppression extended far beyond violence. The Templars had become too powerful, too knowledgeable, too aware of truths that ordinary men were unprepared to handle. In secret archives, in coded manuscripts, and in the deepest vaults beneath cathedrals, they had preserved knowledge that threatened to destabilize the very foundations of church and state. When the Inquisition and the Crown joined forces to destroy them, it was not just an army of soldiers that fell upon the temple. It was a war against information itself. Scrolls were seized, libraries burned, and treasures disappeared into legend. The public saw only heresy and sin, but the true battle was for memory, for the preservation of a lineage and a legacy that must remain hidden. And yet, even in these dark days, there were whispers that some survived. Not just the wealth, not just the relics, but the bloodlines themselves. To the casual observer, the Templars' downfall might seem absolute, final, and complete. They were condemned, disbanded, and vilified. But history, as it is often told, is only a surface reflection of what truly transpired. Beneath the layers of official chronicles and ecclesiastical decrees lies a shadowed narrative, one woven of secrecy, cunning, and survival. Those who study the hidden paths see patterns, sudden rises of obscure families, mysterious inheritances, and symbols that echo the Templar cross across Europe long after the order's supposed extinction. These are not coincidences. They are traces, echoes of a power that refused to die, a network quietly adapting to a world that had sought to erase it. The Red Cross did not vanish. It went underground, embedded in heraldry, architecture, and in the very fabric of certain bloodlines. For the Templars, survival was never just about bodies or castles. It was about ideas, knowledge, and a sacred mission that transcended time. As the first light of dawn threatened to break the horizon, a final silence enveloped the temple. Outside, the city awoke unaware of the magnitude of what was happening in its heart. Within, men who had trained for years, who had crossed deserts and seas, who had faced death countless times, prepared for an end that was anything but ordinary. It was a moment of reckoning, but also a moment of transition. What appeared as destruction was, in a sense, evolution, the dispersal of guardians who would continue their work in hidden ways, carrying the secrets of kings, prophets, and holy relics. In the shadows of Paris, a bloodline, a mission, and a mystery endured. Those who survived carried not just the Templar name, but the weight of something far older, far more profound. A story waiting for those brave enough to follow its subtle, winding trail across centuries and continents, into places where history and legend entwine. Beneath the austere facade of the Knights Templar lay a secret deeper than their religious vows, one that bound them not only to the sword but to a far older, more cryptic mission. Their role as warrior monks may be the story told in history books, but within their order was a network of individuals whose purpose extended far beyond the battlefield. At the core of the secret order was something more than piety or conquest. It was a mission to protect something sacred, something whose very existence threatened the established order of the church, kings, and empires. These men were not merely soldiers of Christ. They were stewards of a hidden legacy, an inheritance that traced its roots back to a time when history itself had been altered by those who sought to control the divine. This hidden knowledge began not with the Crusades, but with the founding of the Templar Order in the early 12th century, when a small group of knights, led by Hugues de Payens, pledged to defend Christian pilgrims in Jerusalem. What began as a noble cause soon evolved into something much greater. The Templars, granted land and wealth by kings and popes alike, expanded their influence rapidly, and with it came access to archives, libraries, and ancient sites buried beneath the holy city itself. The city of Jerusalem, with its layers of history, offered them a treasure of untold riches, not gold or silver, but something far more valuable. The Temple Mount, revered as the resting place of Solomon's temple, was a key focal point. Beneath its ancient stones, the Templars believed they had uncovered relics of immense power, possibly even ancient scrolls that recorded genealogies tied to royal bloodlines, knowledge of which had been hidden away for centuries. The Templars' mission shifted. They were no longer simply crusaders fighting for religious cause. They became guardians of a secret, one that only the inner circle could understand, one that linked them not only to the sacred mysteries of the Bible, but to the very bloodlines of ancient kings. These men were not just monks. They were keepers of a tradition that stretched back through time, tracing a line of descent that many thought was lost to history. This lineage, it was whispered, could be traced to the biblical figures themselves, figures such as King David and even, some claimed, Jesus Christ. The idea of a sacred bloodline was not new. From the earliest days of Christianity, there had been stories of the blood of Christ being passed down through his descendants, hidden away for safekeeping. The Gnostic Gospels, apocryphal texts long suppressed by the Church, offered tantalizing glimpses into a different version of Christian history, one where Mary Magdalene was not simply a penitent sinner, but the wife of Christ, carrying within her the sacred offspring of the divine. These ideas, however, were dangerous, heretical even, and for centuries they had been suppressed. But the Templars, with their access to the sacred grounds of Jerusalem and their secretive nature, were uniquely positioned to protect this knowledge from the eyes of the world. As the Templars expanded their influence, they were drawn into a web of alliances and relationships with other powerful groups across Europe, noble families, scholars, and even kings, many of whom shared their interest in preserving and guarding this ancient knowledge. The Priory of Chaon, a secret society that appeared in the 12th century, is often cited in modern legends as an organization with ties to the Templars. Some even claim that it was the Priory of Chaon that had, long before, safeguarded the bloodline of Christ, hiding it within powerful European families. The line between Templars and the Priory of Chaon blurs in these accounts, with many suggesting that the two organizations were intimately connected, working together to protect the sacred secret of divine kingship. The Templars, it seems, were not simply a military order. At their core, they were a brotherhood bound by an understanding that their mission transcended mere warfare. They were heirs to a greater legacy. Their ranks were filled with men who understood the true nature of their purpose, their loyalty tied not just to their sacred vows, but to an ancient lineage they were sworn to protect. Theirs was a mission of guardianship, but it was also a mission of preservation. They were the keepers of a secret bloodline, one that reached back through the annals of time, and they understood that their work was not just about protecting wealth or land, but safeguarding humanity's access to a truth far more profound. The Templars' world was one of symbols and codes, where knowledge was passed not in open discussions, but through cryptic messages, gestures, and, of course, through the architecture they left behind. The buildings they constructed, the castles, the churches, and the chapels, were more than mere structures. They were encoded messages designed not just to house warriors, but to house knowledge. Many of these buildings were constructed with sacred geometry, aligned with ancient celestial events, and designed to honor the lineage they protected. Some even suggest that the very layout of certain Templar structures was meant to conceal maps or clues that would lead to the final revelation of the bloodline's location. As the Templars gained power, so too did their enemies. The Church, particularly the papacy, grew increasingly wary of their influence. At the height of their power, the Templars were said to have been entrusted with vast wealth, not just in gold, but in land and land-based power. They controlled a banking system that rivaled even the most established financial institutions. Their ability to lend money and amass wealth put them at odds with many kings, but none more so than King Philip IV of France. In the early 14th century, when the king found himself deeply in debt to the order, he turned against them, using his power to accuse the Templars of heresy, sodomy, and idolatry. What followed was nothing short of a purge, a campaign to erase the Templars from history and confiscate their wealth. On the surface, the trial of the Templars seemed to be the end of the order. Thousands were arrested, tortured, and executed, including their Grand Master, Jacques de Molay. The order was officially disbanded, its assets seized, and its members scattered to the wind. But as history has shown, the Templars did not vanish so easily. Some, it is believed, escaped their captors and fled to places like Scotland and Portugal, where they continued their work in secret. And even more intriguing, some suggest that the bloodlines they protected lived on, hidden in plain sight, woven into the fabric of European nobility, continuing their ancient mission to safeguard the sacred lineage of kings. While history may have erased the Templars from the annals of official record, their legacy remains, an enigmatic thread woven through time, leaving behind whispers of a bloodline that shaped history from the shadows. To this day, many search for the lost secrets of the Templars, believing that somewhere beneath the surface of modern history, the bloodlines they protected still exist, waiting for the right moment to reveal themselves once more. The journey of the Templars began on the sun-drenched hills of Jerusalem, where the shadow of Solomon's temple loomed large over everything. The city itself, a tapestry of faiths, empires, and millennia, was a place where ancient secrets were buried beneath layers of stone and dust. For the Templars, however, the Temple Mount was not just a holy site, it was the cradle of their purpose. It was here, beneath the surface of the temple, that they were said to have discovered something that would change the course of history forever. The legends surrounding what the Templars uncovered during their time in Jerusalem are as numerous as they are elusive. Some claim they unearthed treasures beyond imagination, gold, jewels, and sacred relics of immense power. Others suggest that the true discovery was not material at all, but something far more profound, a hidden history encoded in ancient manuscripts that revealed a long-forgotten truth about the origins of humanity and its divine connection. These manuscripts, some believe, contain genealogies tracing the bloodlines of the ancient kings of Israel, and possibly even those of Christ himself. The Templars' involvement with Solomon's Temple is often viewed through the lens of the Crusades, a mission to reclaim the Holy Land from Muslim rule. But for those who dig deeper, the true reason for the Templars' presence in Jerusalem is far more mysterious. They were not merely soldiers of Christ, battling in the name of God. They were seekers, scholars, and guardians of a hidden truth. What they uncovered beneath the temple was not just the remnants of an ancient structure, but the key to a forgotten legacy that stretched back to the very dawn of civilization. One of the most intriguing possibilities is that the Templars discovered ancient records that spoke of a royal bloodline, one that connected the ancient kings of Israel to a sacred line that extended into the heart of Europe. This is where the legend of the Holy Grail begins to take shape. In popular culture, the Grail is often imagined as a chalice, the cup from which Jesus drank at the Last Supper, said to have been used to catch his blood during the crucifixion. But the Templars, according to some, believed the Grail was not a physical object at all. Instead, it was the bloodline, the sacred descendants of Christ, hidden away for centuries to protect them from persecution. The concept of a divine bloodline was not foreign to the Templars. In fact, it was central to their beliefs. They saw themselves as the protectors of this sacred lineage, ensuring that it would not be erased from history. The bloodline they sought to protect was not just any royal line, but one that carried within it the blood of God himself. This was the core of the Templars' mission, to preserve the sacred line of kingship that had been passed down through generations, hidden from the world by those who sought to suppress it. The discovery of these genealogies beneath the temple would have been nothing short of revolutionary. According to esoteric traditions, the Templars uncovered these manuscripts in secret chambers beneath the Temple Mount. These documents, which many believe were written in code, contained the true history of the world, a history that had been deliberately obscured by the Church. The official narrative of Christianity, with its focus on the death and resurrection of Christ, was, according to these alternative theories, only part of the story. The Templars, with their access to these ancient texts, understood that the true story lay not in the crucifixion, but in the bloodline that Jesus left behind. The idea that Christ had descendants, hidden away for centuries, is a thread that runs through many of the Templars' most sacred beliefs. According to some interpretations, the Templars believed that Christ's bloodline had survived through history, protected by secret societies and noble families. This bloodline was not just of royal blood. It was believed to carry within it a divine essence, an unbroken connection to the divine that transcended human understanding. The Templars, therefore, were not merely knights protecting a treasure of material wealth. They were guardians of the sacred blood, the true heirs of Christ's kingdom on earth. But the question arises, if the Templars truly believed in the existence of such a bloodline, why would they hide it from the world? The answer, it seems, lies in the very nature of the Templars' mission. The discovery of the sacred bloodline would have been seen as a threat to the existing order. If the truth about Christ's descendants were to be revealed, it could undermine the authority of the Church, which held itself as the sole representative of God on earth. The Church had long controlled the narrative of Christian history, and any challenge to its authority was met with swift and brutal suppression. The Templars, in their role as protectors of this secret, understood that revealing the bloodline could lead to their destruction. This is where the deeper mystery of the Templars begins to emerge. Some scholars suggest that the Templars were not simply hiding a physical bloodline, but were instead safeguarding the very concept of divine kingship. The idea that true rulers were not chosen by birthright alone, but by their connection to the divine. The bloodline, in this sense, was not just about preserving a family name, but about preserving a sacred truth, that the power to rule, to lead, was not something granted by men, but something bestowed by God. The Templars' discovery of these sacred manuscripts was, therefore, more than just an archaeological find. It was the key to understanding the true nature of power, blood, and divine right. They became, in their eyes, the stewards of this knowledge, tasked with protecting it from those who would abuse it. For the Templars, their mission was not just about wealth or military conquest. It was about guarding the most sacred truth of all, the connection between humanity and the divine. The legacy of this discovery, however, did not end with the fall of the Templars. In fact, many believe it was only the beginning. As the order was dismantled and its secrets scattered to the winds, the knowledge they protected was not lost. Instead, it was hidden away in secret places, passed down through generations, encoded in the symbols and rituals of various secret societies that flourished in the centuries that followed. Freemasonry, the Rosicrucians, and other esoteric groups have long been linked to the Templars, and many believe that they inherited the task of guarding the sacred bloodline and its secrets. The question, then, is not whether the Templars found the sacred bloodline, but what they did with it. In the centuries since their fall, the Templar legacy has lived on, carried in the hidden corners of history, and encoded in the symbols and structures they left behind. Their story is far from over. It is woven into the fabric of history, waiting for those who are willing to seek it out and uncover the secrets that still lie hidden beneath the surface of the world we know. The fall of the Templars, though swift and violent, did not mark the end of their influence. On the contrary, it is often said that the Order's true power was only realized in the shadows that followed their destruction. While the official history records the trial, the torture, and the mass executions, there exists a far more subtle narrative, one that speaks of survival, secrecy, and the preservation of what the Templars had long fought to protect: the bloodline, the knowledge, and the sacred trust they held. When King Philip IV's men stormed the Templar strongholds in 1307, they were not merely targeting knights. They were targeting something far more dangerous, something that could topple the very structure of Christendom itself. In the wake of their fall, many of the Templars were executed, their estates seized, and their wealth appropriated by the crown and the church. Yet, despite the apparent eradication of the order, something extraordinary happened. The Templar Knights who survived did not simply vanish into history. They disappeared from the public eye, but they did not disappear entirely. For the true power of the Templars was never in their wealth, nor in their vast military might, but in their network, their web of connections that stretched far beyond France, into Scotland, Portugal, and even England. The legends of the Templar survival are as varied as the men who claim to be heirs to their mission. Some say that a small group of knights fled to Scotland, where they found sanctuary under the protection of King Robert the Bruce. In the remote Highlands, they are believed to have taken refuge, blending in with the rugged landscape and its fierce inhabitants. This was not just an escape from the wrath of Philip IV, but a strategic retreat, a way to preserve the order and its secrets for future generations. The Scottish connection to the Templars has long been a subject of fascination. Many scholars believe that the Templars played a key role in the formation of the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, a secret society that would come to symbolize the preservation of hidden knowledge and power. But it wasn't just in Scotland where the Templars sought refuge. In Portugal, they found a sympathetic ear in King Denis, who, like the Scottish king, was aware of the Templars' importance and was not willing to let them be destroyed so easily. It was in Portugal that the Templar Order was reborn under a new name, the Order of Christ. This new incarnation of the Templars maintained many of the same traditions and rituals, but it was far more subtle in its operations, working behind the scenes and largely avoiding the scrutiny of the Church. Over time, the Order of Christ became a powerful force in Portugal, and it was from this order that many of the famous explorers, including Vasco da Gama, are said to have drawn their inspiration and support. The Templars' survival also extended to the wider European continent. The knights who escaped the purge took their knowledge and their sacred charge with them. They blended into existing noble families, marrying into bloodlines that held power and influence, but they did so with caution. They carried with them the cryptic symbols of their order, the Red Cross, the secret codes, the knowledge that had been passed down through the centuries. These symbols were not merely ornamental. They were markers, signifiers of a lineage that had not been erased, but had merely gone underground. The true nature of the Templar mission and the bloodline they sought to protect began to surface again in the centuries that followed their downfall. The idea of secret societies, of hidden knowledge, of suppressed truths began to take root in the collective imagination of Europe. This was not a mere coincidence. The Templars, in their retreat, continued their work in the shadows, guiding the course of history in subtle ways. They did not act in the open, but they worked through intermediaries, through royal houses, through powerful families, through the very institutions that had once sought to destroy them. As the centuries passed, the influence of the Templars continued to spread, albeit in ways that were not immediately apparent. One of the most notable manifestations of this influence was the rise of Freemasonry. Freemasonry, with its secret rituals, its hidden knowledge, and its connections to the Templar Order, has long been a subject of fascination for those seeking to uncover the true story behind the Templars' legacy. While the exact relationship between the Templars and the Freemasons is still a matter of debate, many scholars and historians believe that the Templar ideals, the codes, and the sacred knowledge were carried forward by the Masons, who became the stewards of the ancient wisdom that the Templars had once protected. It is said that the Masonic rites were designed to preserve the Templar tradition in a new form, hiding the truth in plain sight, using symbols, allegories, and rituals that only a select few could understand. The symbols of the Templars, with their secret meanings, also found their way into the architecture of some of the greatest structures of the Western world. The cathedrals, churches, and castles that were built during the medieval period are filled with Templar symbolism, from the distinctive cross to the hidden references to the ancient kingship they sought to protect. These symbols were not just decorative. They were meant to encode the sacred knowledge of the Templars in a form that could not be easily erased. In these buildings, hidden in plain sight, the Templars' mission continued, even after their official destruction. But the most enduring aspect of the Templar legacy is the bloodline. The idea that the Templars protected a divine lineage, the descendants of Christ himself, has continued to captivate the imagination of historians, occultists, and conspiracy theorists alike. According to some, the Templars' mission was never just about wealth or military power. It was about the preservation of this sacred bloodline, hidden from the eyes of the world, passed down through generations in secrecy. Even today, many believe that this bloodline exists, buried deep within the veins of Europe's most ancient noble families. The legends speak of a royal family that traces its ancestry directly to Jesus Christ, a family whose existence has been kept secret for centuries. Their true identity known only to those who are entrusted with the knowledge. This hidden bloodline, some believe, continues to hold great power, both spiritually and politically. It is said that the Templars' descendants, wherever they may be, still carry the mantle of their forefathers, protectors of a secret that could change the course of history. Some believe that the bloodline's return is imminent, and that when it does, it will herald a new era, one in which the Templars' mission is completed and the world finally understands a truth that has been hidden for so long. As time moves on, the Templars remain a mystery, their true legacy wrapped in layers of secrecy, guarded by those who understand the depth of what they protected. The bloodline they sought to preserve, the knowledge they fought to conceal, and the mission they carried out in silence are far from forgotten. The Templars' influence continues to ripple through history, shaping events from behind the scenes, leaving us with a question that refuses to be answered. What will happen when the secrets they guarded for so long are finally revealed? In the centuries that followed the disbanding of the Templar Order, the symbols, rituals, and ideologies they left behind began to intertwine with the very fabric of European power structures. While much of the world believed that the Templars had simply faded into history, their influence persisted quietly but powerfully within the secret societies that began to flourish in the wake of their collapse. One of the most notable of these was the Freemasons, a group that, like the Templars, operated in secrecy and wielded tremendous influence in shaping the course of world events. At the heart of the Masonic tradition lies a deep reverence for the mysteries of the ancient world, many of which the Templars had safeguarded during their time in Jerusalem. The Masons, in a sense, inherited the Templars' sacred charge, continuing their work in the shadows, though under a different guise. While the Templars were knights, bound by vows of chastity, poverty, and obedience, the Freemasons were builders, craftsmen who laid down the very stones of European civilization, both literally and metaphorically. The tools and symbols of Freemasonry, compasses, squares, and pillars, are rich in esoteric meaning, many of which can be traced back to the Templars' understanding of sacred geometry and hidden knowledge. Freemasonry, like the Templars, emphasized the importance of knowledge, but this knowledge was often veiled in allegory, only accessible to those initiated into its secrets. The Freemasons did not merely adopt the Templar symbols. They became the protectors of the same mysteries, including the notion of a hidden royal bloodline. While the church and monarchy may have sought to erase any trace of the Templar Order's true purpose, the Freemasons saw themselves as the rightful heirs to the Templars' legacy. This included, most importantly, the preservation of the sacred bloodline that the Templars had fought to protect. Many Masonic rituals, it is said, are filled with references to the biblical genealogies and the line of David, signaling their connection to the Templars' original mission. Some believe that these rituals encode not only the history of the Templars, but also a roadmap that could lead to the location of the lost heirs of the divine bloodline. However, the Masons were not the only ones who saw themselves as the inheritors of Templar secrets. Throughout the centuries, numerous other groups and individuals have claimed to possess knowledge passed down from the Templars. The Rosicrucians, for example, a secret society founded in the early 17th century, espoused a philosophy that combined alchemy, mysticism, and the ancient teachings of Egypt, Greece, and Jerusalem. Many believe that the Rosicrucians were closely aligned with the Templars, with both groups sharing a common interest in preserving ancient esoteric knowledge, especially that which pertained to the divine nature of kingship and the sacred bloodlines of antiquity. While the Rosicrucians were more focused on spiritual enlightenment and the search for hidden wisdom, other groups, like the Illuminati, took a more political approach. The Illuminati, founded in 1776 in Bavaria, sought to promote Enlightenment ideals, rationalism, secularism, and the separation of church and state. But beneath their public-facing philosophy, Many believe that the Illuminati were influenced by the Templars' secret knowledge, particularly their understanding of divine right and the ancient bloodline. The idea that a hidden, enlightened elite could shape the destiny of nations was very much in line with Templar philosophy, which viewed the protection of sacred knowledge as a means of guiding humanity toward a higher purpose. Even the monarchies of Europe were not immune to the influence of Templar knowledge. Many of Europe's most powerful royal families, particularly those of France, Spain, and Scotland, are said to have had strong ties to the Templars, either through direct familial connections or through alliances with secret societies that preserve Templar traditions. The Bourbons of France, for instance, were believed to be closely connected to the Templars, with some speculating that their lineage could be traced back to the sacred bloodline that the Templars had sworn to protect. Similarly, the royal family of Scotland is often said to have inherited Templar traditions, including the notion that their bloodline carried a divine right to rule, one that was linked to the ancient kings of Israel. This connection between the Templars and European nobility has given rise to a series of conspiracy theories that suggest the Templars never truly disappeared, but instead continued to operate in the background, influencing major events throughout history. The French Revolution, the rise of the British Empire, and even the American Revolution are often seen as movements that were influenced by Templar ideals, though not in the way that conventional history portrays them. The Templars were not merely knights waging war on behalf of kings and popes. They were agents of change, keepers of a divine knowledge that could shift the very balance of power. Their influence, it is believed, persisted through their connections to the most powerful families of Europe, who continued to guard the sacred secret of the bloodline. The most enduring aspect of the Templar legacy, however, is the idea of a hidden truth, a truth that could upend everything we know about history, religion, and our place in the world. The Templars' mission, as many believe, was never about gold or land. It was about protecting something far more valuable, the divine bloodline that connected humanity to the gods. This bloodline, preserved by the Templars and their secret society successors, continues to be the subject of fascination and intrigue. For those who believe, the search for the hidden heirs of this sacred line has not stopped, and it is said that the key to finding them lies buried in plain sight, encoded in the symbols, maps, and rituals left behind by the Templars and their descendants. In the modern era, the search for this hidden truth has become something of an obsession. Conspiracy theorists, historians, and treasure hunters continue to scour the earth for evidence that could confirm or deny the existence of the Templar bloodline. They scour ancient manuscripts, interpret old maps, and visit locations of historical significance, temples, churches, and cathedrals, hoping to uncover the secret that has been guarded for centuries. But the Templars' greatest achievement may have been their ability to keep this secret so well hidden, allowing it to survive in the undercurrents of history. As the world moves further into the modern age, with new technologies and revelations emerging, the mystery of the Templars and their hidden legacy only deepens. The bloodline they sought to protect may still be alive today, hidden in plain sight among the most powerful families of the world. Or perhaps it is waiting to be rediscovered, a key to unlocking a forgotten history that could reshape our understanding of who we are and where we come from. The truth may lie dormant, but the search for it continues, carried forward by those who are drawn to the mystery of the Templars' lost legacy and the bloodline they fought so fiercely to protect. As the centuries passed, the legend of the Templars grew ever more enigmatic, intertwining with the myths, mysteries, and conspiracies of the world. While the official history of the order has been largely defined by its violent end in 1307, there are whispers that the Templars' influence did not end with their disbanding. In fact, many argue that the true story of the Templars only began to unfold after their destruction, as their secrets slowly began to emerge, passed down through generations in cryptic symbols and hidden messages. One of the most compelling aspects of the Templar legacy is the idea that they were guardians of knowledge that predated Christianity itself. Knowledge that could, if revealed, challenge the very foundations of the Western world's understanding of history, religion, and even human origins. This knowledge, it is believed, was not just religious or philosophical in nature, but contained something far more profound, an understanding of the ancient and forgotten truths of human civilization, encoded in sacred geometry, alchemical symbols, and secret texts. Some believe the Templars were not simply custodians of these secrets, but active seekers, traveling to distant lands and engaging with lost civilizations to unlock these long-buried mysteries. The concept that the Templars were more than just medieval warriors has captured the imaginations of many. Beyond their role as Knights of the Crusades, some historians and researchers have speculated that the Templars may have been in possession of knowledge that could rewrite the entire narrative of human history. This knowledge, some suggest, is tied to the ancient civilizations of Egypt, Sumeria, and even Atlantis, lost cultures that were said to possess advanced knowledge of mathematics, astronomy, and metaphysical principles far ahead of their time. The Templars, in their search for relics and sacred sites during the Crusades, are thought by some to have uncovered these lost teachings, which they then guarded in secret. One of the most tantalizing pieces of this puzzle is the suggestion that the Templars were in contact with a group of ancient mystics or scholars, perhaps the descendants of a forgotten civilization, that had preserved this knowledge through generations. Some theorists point to the similarities between Templar iconography and the symbols used by these ancient cultures, such as the use of the pentagram, the all-seeing eye, and the sacred circle. These symbols, which appear prominently in Templar art, architecture, and rituals, are thought to represent a deeper understanding of the universe, one that transcends the teachings of traditional religion. The idea that the Templars were guardians of ancient knowledge is further supported by the evidence found in their architectural legacy. Many of the cathedrals and churches built by the Templars, particularly in France and England, are filled with esoteric symbolism, symbols that reference ancient mysteries and philosophies, from the geometry of the cosmos to the hidden teachings of the ancient Egyptians. The design of these structures, with their precise alignment to celestial events and their intricate use of geometry, suggests that the Templars were not just constructing places of worship, but were encoding their secret knowledge into the very fabric of their buildings. But the mystery of the Templars extends beyond their architecture. Many researchers believe that the Templars may have possessed ancient texts or manuscripts that contained forbidden knowledge, books that were hidden from the public eye for fear of their contents. These texts, it is believed, were not only religious in nature, but also contained detailed accounts of lost civilizations, secret rituals, and teachings that were too dangerous for the general population to know. Some speculate that these manuscripts were hidden away in secret locations, such as remote monasteries or hidden chambers beneath the earth, and that only the highest-ranking Templars knew of their existence. One of the most famous of these lost manuscripts is the Codex Templar, a collection of ancient scrolls that some believe were discovered beneath the ruins of the Temple of Solomon in Jerusalem. The Codex, according to legend, contained knowledge of an ancient royal bloodline, one that traces its roots back to the biblical kings of Israel, and possibly even to Christ himself. This bloodline, the theory goes, was preserved by the Templars, who saw themselves as its protectors. The Codex Templar is said to have been written in a series of codes and symbols that only those with the proper initiation could decipher. Its contents, if revealed, would challenge the very core of Christian doctrine and reveal a hidden truth about the nature of Christ, his family, and his legacy. But the search for this lost knowledge does not end in Jerusalem. According to some theories, the Templars did not just uncover ancient scrolls in the Holy Land. They also traveled to other parts of the world, including Egypt and the Americas, in search of further revelations. The Templars' connection to Egypt is particularly significant. Many researchers believe that the Templars, with their extensive travels and their deep interest in sacred knowledge, may have been in contact with Egyptian mystics who had preserved the teachings of the ancient world. These teachings, often referred to as the mystery schools of Egypt, were said to contain profound wisdom about the nature of the soul, the afterlife, and the true purpose of human existence. The Templars' travels to the Americas are also a source of much speculation. Some theorists argue that the Templars may have journeyed across the Atlantic long before Christopher Columbus, establishing hidden colonies or trading routes with the indigenous peoples of the Americas. These claims are supported by various pieces of evidence, including Templar symbols found on ancient Native American artifacts and structures, as well as references to the Templars in indigenous oral traditions. The idea that the Templars could have established a secret presence in the New World further adds to the mystique surrounding their legacy. As the centuries wore on, the Templar secrets were not only preserved but also obscured by layers of myth and legend. The Church, having long sought to discredit the Templars, perpetuated false stories of their involvement in heresy and black magic, using these fabrications to obscure the true nature of their mission. The Templars' enemies sought to erase their legacy, but in doing so, they inadvertently gave birth to the myths and conspiracies that would surround the order for centuries to come. Today, the search for the Templars' lost knowledge and hidden treasures continues to captivate the public imagination. Researchers, treasure hunters, and conspiracy theorists alike are drawn to the mystery of the Templars, hoping to uncover the secrets they left behind. From the winding tunnels beneath the streets of Paris to the hidden chambers of Rosslyn Chapel in Scotland, the hunt for the Templars' lost knowledge remains one of the most enduring mysteries of history. Yet, despite the years of research, the countless theories, and the ongoing search, the truth about the Templars remains elusive. The secrets they guarded, the knowledge they uncovered, and the bloodline they protected continue to lie hidden in the shadows, waiting for someone to uncover them. Until then, the Templars remain a symbol of mystery, power, and the unyielding search for forbidden knowledge. As the centuries passed, the question of the Templars' legacy continued to intrigue those who sought knowledge of the hidden world. While the mainstream narrative of the Templars focused on their role in the Crusades and their sudden destruction at the hands of the French king and the Church, there was another story unfolding in the shadows, a story of survival, of hidden truths, and of a mission that had never truly ended. The Templars, it seems, had not simply disappeared. Instead, their influence had been woven into the very fabric of Western civilization, preserved in secret societies, royal bloodlines, and forgotten corners of history. One of the most enduring aspects of Templar lore is the belief that they were custodians of a profound and sacred secret, one that was closely tied to the mysteries of the Holy Grail. This legendary artifact, often depicted as the cup used by Christ at the Last Supper, has been the subject of fascination for centuries, not only for its spiritual significance, but for the potential power it could bestow upon its possessor. The Templars, many believe, were in possession of the Grail, or at least its knowledge, and their mission was to protect it from falling into the wrong hands. The idea that the Templars held the secret to the Grail is rooted in both myth and history. According to some theories, the Grail was not a literal cup, but a symbol of divine wisdom, a hidden knowledge that could unlock the secrets of the universe. The Templars, with their vast network and their deep knowledge of sacred geometry, alchemy, and ancient religious texts, were thought to be the guardians of this knowledge. It was not merely a treasure to be sought after for material gain, but a deeper, spiritual truth that had been hidden from the masses. The Grail, however, was not the only secret that the Templars were said to guard. Another enduring aspect of Templar lore is the belief that they were protectors of a royal bloodline, a bloodline that was directly descended from Jesus Christ. According to some, the Templars were entrusted with the sacred mission of preserving this lineage, ensuring that the descendants of Christ would remain hidden from the eyes of the world, protected by a network of powerful families, secret societies, and covert operations. This bloodline, many theorists suggest, is the true key to understanding the Templars' purpose and the real reason behind their creation. This royal bloodline, it is believed, traces its roots back to the biblical figure of Mary Magdalene, who some claim was the wife of Christ. The theory, known as the Mary Magdalene hypothesis, suggests that Jesus and Mary had children, and that their descendants survived in secret, hidden away from history by the Church and the ruling powers of Europe. According to this theory, the Templars were not only aware of this bloodline, but were actively involved in protecting it from being discovered. The Knights, it is said, were sworn to secrecy and entrusted with the responsibility of safeguarding the descendants of Christ, who were believed to have a divine right to rule. This idea of a hidden royal bloodline is further complicated by the notion that the Templars may have been the key players in a centuries-long game of keeping this secret from the public. In the medieval world, power was often derived from bloodlines, and the Templars, with their vast resources and their connections to the European aristocracy, were in a unique position to protect a lineage that could challenge the authority of the Church and the monarchy. The Templars' apparent wealth, their military prowess, and their widespread influence made them a formidable force in the political landscape of Europe. But it is this very power, many believe, that made them a target for the Church and the Crown, who sought to destroy the order and wipe out any potential threat to their own legitimacy. The Templars' destruction in 1307, while officially sanctioned by the Pope, was not an isolated event, but part of a much larger struggle for power between the Church, the monarchy, and the emerging forces of secularism. It is said that the Templars' hidden knowledge, including their knowledge of the royal bloodline, was seen as a threat to the established order, and so they were branded as heretics and traitors. The public trial and execution of many of the Templar Knights was not just an act of vengeance, but a calculated effort to erase the order's influence and suppress the secrets they held. Yet, despite this violent purge, many believe that the Templars did not truly vanish. Instead, their secrets were preserved in the hands of a select few who continued their work in secret. The Templars' teachings, rituals, and knowledge were passed down through the ages, embedded in the fabric of secret societies such as the Freemasons, the Rosicrucians, and even the Illuminati. These societies, some argue, were not simply concerned with spiritual enlightenment, but were also protectors of the sacred bloodline and the knowledge associated with it. The idea that the Templars' secrets were preserved in these societies is not merely speculative. It is based on the historical connections between these groups and the Templars themselves. The Freemasons, for example, have long been associated with the Templars, with many of their symbols, rituals, and philosophies mirroring those of the medieval knights. The Masonic order, with its secretive nature and its emphasis on knowledge, is often seen as the modern-day successor to the Templars, continuing their mission of preserving hidden truths. Similarly, the Rosicrucians, with their focus on alchemy, mysticism, and ancient knowledge, are believed to have inherited many of the Templar secrets. These societies, along with the Freemasons, are thought to have been the keepers of the hidden knowledge that the Templars had guarded, including the secrets of the Grail and the royal bloodline. Through their symbols, rituals, and teachings, these secret societies continued the work of the Templars, subtly influencing the course of history while remaining in the shadows. One of the most fascinating aspects of this theory is the belief that the Templars' influence did not fade with their destruction, but instead grew more potent as time went on. The secrets they protected, especially the idea of a hidden royal bloodline, became more valuable as the power of the Church and the monarchy waned. Over the centuries, the Templars' legacy continued to resonate, surfacing in moments of political upheaval, religious conflict, and social change. Their influence can be seen in the rise of democratic ideals, the spread of scientific knowledge, and a gradual decline of absolute monarchies. The modern era, in particular, has seen a renewed interest in the Templars and their hidden knowledge. The resurgence of interest in secret societies, alternative histories, and suppressed truths has brought the Templars back into the spotlight. Books, documentaries, and films have explored their legacy, and conspiracy theories about their role in world events continue to capture the imagination of millions. The Templars' quest to protect the royal bloodline, the Grail, and their ancient wisdom may not have been fully understood during their time, but today, these mysteries continue to captivate the world. The legacy of the Templars is not just one of lost treasure or forgotten secrets. It is a story of power, survival, and the preservation of knowledge in the face of overwhelming opposition. Whether or not the Templars truly held the secrets they're believed to have guarded, their influence is undeniable. Their story continues to shape our understanding of history, religion, and the very nature of truth. And as the search for their hidden legacy persists, one can only wonder, what else is buried in the shadows of history, waiting to be uncovered? The mysteries surrounding the Templars are not limited to just their secret knowledge, their hidden treasures, or their purported bloodline. There's also the tantalizing possibility that their influence has been woven into some of history's most iconic events and figures. From the shadowy corridors of European courts to the halls of power in the New World, the Templars' legacy is thought to have permeated some of the most pivotal moments in history. But their role, ever elusive, has often been hidden beneath a veil of secrecy, and many of their supposed interventions have been obscured by time and myth. One of the most intriguing aspects of Templar history is their alleged involvement in the formation of some of the world's most influential institutions. The Freemasons, for example, are often linked to the Templars in both their philosophy and their rituals. Many Masonic symbols, from the compass and square to the all-seeing eye, echo the same iconography found in Templar architecture and artwork. There are numerous theories that suggest the Templars passed on their knowledge to the Freemasons, with the goal of preserving their secrets and continuing their mission under a new guise. The Freemasons, often regarded as one of the most powerful secret societies in history, have been accused of everything from manipulating world events to orchestrating revolutions. While the true extent of their influence is difficult to pinpoint, it is undeniable that their symbolism, rituals, and influence can be found in nearly every corner of the Western world. The Freemasons were involved in the founding of the United States, for example, with several of the country's founding fathers, including George Washington and Benjamin Franklin, being prominent members of the order. Their involvement in the creation of a new nation, with ideals centered around liberty and freedom, has led some to speculate that the Templars, through their Masonic connections, played a key role in shaping the very foundations of modern democracy. The influence of the Templars is not confined to secret societies, however. The idea that the Knights' legacy was passed down through the ages in hidden royal bloodlines is another compelling thread in this tangled narrative. The Templars, many believe, were not only guardians of ancient knowledge, but were also instrumental in the establishment of dynastic lines that have continued to wield power throughout history. One of the most prominent of these is the alleged connection between the Templars and the Merovingians, a powerful Frankish dynasty that ruled over much of Europe in the early medieval period. The Merovingians, according to some historians and theorists, were direct descendants of Jesus Christ, or at least of his bloodline. This theory, known as the Merovingian hypothesis, suggests that the Templars were intimately connected with this royal family and were tasked with protecting their lineage. The idea is that the Merovingians were the true heirs to the Holy Grail, and that the Templars were entrusted with safeguarding both the Grail and the Merovingian bloodline. This theory is bolstered by the fact that many of the early Templar Knights were French, and that France, particularly during the medieval period, was home to the Merovingian dynasty. However, the connection between the Templars and the Merovingians is not limited to mere speculation. There are numerous historical records myths, and artifacts that suggest the Templars may have played a key role in maintaining the Merovingian line. One of the most compelling pieces of evidence comes from the legend of the Priory of Chaon, a secret society that is said to have existed for centuries and whose purpose was to protect the Merovingian bloodline. According to some, the Priory of Chaon was founded by the Templars themselves, with the goal of ensuring that the bloodline of Christ and its rightful heirs would not be lost to history. One of the most famous proponents of this theory was the author and researcher Pierre Plantard, who in the 20th century claimed to have uncovered the truth about the Priory of Chaon and its connection to the Templars. Plantard's assertions were controversial and, to many, highly suspect. Yet, the idea that the Templars were involved in preserving a sacred royal lineage, hidden from public view, continues to capture the imaginations of those fascinated by the Order's secrets. The link between the Templars and the Merovingians is not the only potential connection between the knights and the royal families of Europe. Throughout history, the Templars are thought to have had close ties to various monarchies, from the kings of France to the monarchs of England and Scotland. In particular, the Templars' relationship with the Scottish monarchy has become a central part of their legend. Many believe that the Templars played a significant role in the formation of the Kingdom of Scotland, with the Templars allegedly aiding in the establishment of Scotland's royal bloodline and even offering protection to Scottish kings in their struggle for independence from English rule. Perhaps the most famous connection between the Templars and Scotland is their involvement in the construction of Rosslyn Chapel, located near Edinburgh. This chapel, with its intricate carvings and mysterious symbolism, is often cited as a key site in the search for the Holy Grail. Some theorists argue that Rosslyn Chapel was built by the Templars as a repository for their secrets, including knowledge of the Grail and their hidden royal lineage. The chapel's unusual design, with its detailed depictions of symbols from various religious and esoteric traditions, only adds to the mystery surrounding its true purpose. Rosslyn Chapel has become a focal point for those interested in Templar history, with many speculating that the Templars left behind clues to their hidden treasures and sacred knowledge within its walls. The chapel's carvings, which include references to the zodiac, alchemical symbols, and Masonic iconography, suggest that the Templars may have encoded their secrets within its architecture. Some even believe that Rosslyn Chapel was designed to serve as a kind of cosmic map, pointing the way to hidden locations where the Templars' greatest secrets were buried. The connection between the Templars and Rosslyn Chapel highlights the enduring legacy of the Order and its continued influence on history. For centuries, the Templars' secrets were thought to be lost, but in the modern age, they have resurfaced in the form of these ancient mysteries. Whether through secret societies, royal bloodlines, or hidden symbols in architecture, the Templars' presence in history is undeniable, and their story continues to unfold in ways that challenge our understanding of the past. As we delve deeper into the secrets of the Templars, we are confronted with the question, why would such a powerful and influential organization go to such great lengths to preserve its knowledge? The answer may lie in the Templars' belief in the importance of hidden knowledge that, if exposed, could alter the course of human history. From their creation in the Holy Land to their alleged role in the formation of modern institutions, the Templars' influence has been profound, and their legacy, far from being erased, continues to shape the world today. As we continue to peel back the layers of the Templar mystery, one undeniable truth emerges. The legacy of the Knights Templar transcends mere history. It is a living, breathing entity, woven into the very fabric of our modern world. From their profound influence on secret societies, royal bloodlines, and ancient mysteries, to their continued impact on contemporary politics, religion, and culture, the Templars' presence can still be felt today. But how exactly did this once powerful order, which was disbanded in the early 14th century, manage to survive for so long in the shadows? And why does their legacy continue to hold such sway over our collective imagination? The answer, many believe, lies in the Templars' deep understanding of esoteric knowledge. Knowledge that was not just sacred but dangerous. They were not simply warriors, nor were they just protectors of the Christian faith. They were keepers of ancient secrets, custodians of mysteries that predate the Christian era and may well stretch back to the dawn of civilization itself. And these secrets, far from being locked away in some hidden vault or forgotten crypt, have survived in coded messages, symbols, and myths that continue to circulate throughout history. One of the key aspects of Templar lore that continues to fascinate is their supposed connection to the so-called lost or ancient wisdom of the ages. This is not merely knowledge in the conventional sense, but a deep understanding of the forces that govern the universe, a kind of spiritual and metaphysical wisdom that was believed to have been passed down from the ancient Egyptians, Babylonians, and other civilizations long lost to time. For the Templars, this wisdom was tied to the pursuit of the Holy Grail, the Ark of the Covenant, and other legendary relics that symbolized the key to enlightenment and ultimate power. The Grail itself, which is often envisioned as a physical object, a chalice or cup, was, in the Templar worldview, something much more profound. It represented not only a physical object of divine power, but also a metaphysical idea, the union of the divine and the human, the link between the earthly and the heavenly. It was a key that could unlock hidden truths about our existence, the nature of God, and the universe itself. The Templars, it is said, had discovered the true nature of this Grail, and they believed that its knowledge was too powerful to be allowed to fall into the hands of those who would misuse it. But how did this knowledge come to be associated with the Templars? Theories abound, and some are more far-reaching than others. One of the most compelling suggestions is that the Templars' rise to power and their eventual downfall were inextricably linked to the discovery of sacred knowledge, knowledge that was not meant for the public eye. This knowledge, in turn, led the Templars to uncover the true origins of Christianity itself, revealing a much more complex and perhaps unsettling narrative than the one that had been promoted by the Church. The Templars, some theorists argue, were not simply religious zealots fighting for the Crusades. Rather, they were initiates in a much older tradition, one that predated Christianity and had its roots in the ancient mystery schools of Egypt, Greece, and the Near East. These schools were believed to hold secret knowledge that could unlock the mysteries of life, death, and the afterlife, and many of these teachings were preserved in secret societies, such as the Essenes and the Gnostics, before being passed on to the Templars. In this light, the Templars can be seen as the guardians of this ancient, hidden wisdom, guardians who were tasked not only with protecting the material wealth of the Church, but also with preserving esoteric knowledge that was considered too dangerous for the general populace. And it was precisely this knowledge that would eventually lead to their undoing. The Templars' perceived threat to the established order and their perceived possession of this forbidden knowledge led to their arrest, torture, and execution under the orders of King Philip IV of France. Their wealth, their power, and their secrets made them a target for those who sought to control history, to manipulate the flow of knowledge, and to suppress the forces that threatened the established narrative. However, even in the face of such persecution, the Templars did not vanish. Instead, it is believed that many of them escaped, either through covert means or by fleeing to places where they could continue their work in secret. One of the most enduring theories is that the Templars fled to Scotland, where they may have been protected by the Scottish monarchy, which was itself rumored to be closely linked to the Templar order. This connection would explain why the Templars were so heavily involved in the construction of Rosslyn Chapel, a site steeped in Templar and Masonic symbolism. Another theory suggests that the Templars' secret knowledge, particularly regarding the Grail and the bloodline of Christ, was carried across the Atlantic to the New World. Some researchers have pointed to evidence suggesting that the Templars, or their descendants, played a significant role in the discovery and settlement of the Americas. There are even claims that the Templars hid their treasures in North America, in locations that have yet to be uncovered. These claims are, of course, highly speculative, but they continue to intrigue those who believe that the Templars' reach extended far beyond the confines of medieval Europe. The possibility that the Templars may have had a hand in the establishment of the New World is supported by some of the symbols found in early American history. The most famous of these is the all-seeing eye, which appears on the Great Seal of the United States and is often associated with Freemasonry and the Templars. The symbolism of the eye, representing divine knowledge and the eternal watchfulness of the higher powers, was a key motif in Templar iconography, and its prominence in the United States founding documents and symbols raises intriguing questions about the influence the Templars may have had on the formation of the country. Indeed, the very founding of America is often seen as a reflection of Templar ideals. The emphasis on liberty, justice, and the pursuit of knowledge mirrors the values that the Templars are believed to have championed. These values, many theorists argue, were not simply political in nature, but deeply spiritual, rooted in a belief in the sacredness of human freedom and the quest for enlightenment. In this sense, the Templars' influence can be seen as more than just historical. It is embedded in the very fabric of modern civilization, from the ideals that shaped the United States to the secret societies and esoteric traditions that continue to exert influence on the world today. As we look at the impact of the Templars on modern history, we are confronted with a haunting realization. Their secrets, whether in the form of sacred knowledge, ancient artifacts, or royal bloodlines, have never truly disappeared. Rather, they have been passed down through the ages, hidden in plain sight, waiting for those with the eyes to see and the knowledge to unlock them. The Templars may have been disbanded centuries ago, but their legacy continues to shape the course of history. The mysteries they left behind are not merely relics of the past. They are living, breathing entities that continue to influence the present and will undoubtedly shape the future in ways we have yet to fully comprehend. As the centuries have passed, the shadow of the Templars has continued to linger, stretching its fingers into various corners of history, mysticism, and even modern-day conspiracies. Their symbols, once hidden in plain sight, are now scattered across the world, etched into the very architecture of our cities, woven into the fabric of our secret societies, and even encoded into the most powerful institutions. What began as a small military order founded for the protection of Christian pilgrims has morphed into something much more, a symbol of mystery, forbidden knowledge, and a quest for ultimate power. Among the most enduring questions surrounding the Templars is not just their historical influence, but their ongoing presence in the world today. Many believe that the Templars didn't truly vanish after their official disbandment in 1312. Instead, their secrets were preserved and their power reconstituted in new forms, hidden from the eyes of the public, yet remaining potent in the corridors of power. One of the most widely discussed theories is the notion that the Templars found refuge within other secret organizations, most notably the Freemasons, which were founded centuries after the order's dissolution. The argument is that, rather than perishing at the hands of the French monarchy, the Templars re-emerged under a new name and new guise, continuing their mission in the shadows. The Freemasons, as we know them today, are often linked to the Templars through their shared symbols and rituals. The famous Masonic emblem, the compass and square, has long been compared to Templar imagery. Furthermore, many of the most prominent Freemasons throughout history, including figures such as George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, and even Winston Churchill, have been involved in various forms of political and societal change. Some theorists argue that the Freemasons, as modern inheritors of the Templar legacy, have quietly influenced key moments in history, from the American Revolution to the formation of the United Nations. Through their elaborate rituals and secretive nature, the Freemasons are thought to have carried on the Templars' quest for hidden knowledge and power, preserving the same ancient mysteries and secrets that the Templars once held. This notion of continuity is not confined to the Freemasons alone. The Templar legend has been woven into the very fabric of various other secret societies, some that are well documented and some that have remained enshrouded in myth. One of the most notable examples is the Priory of Chaon, a secret society that came to widespread attention in the 20th century, largely due to the best-selling book, The Da Vinci Code. The Priory of Chaon is said to have been founded by the Templars to protect their most sacred secrets, including the alleged bloodline of Christ. According to this theory, the Templars did not just possess knowledge of ancient artifacts like the Holy Grail or the Ark of the Covenant, but also of the true heritage of Jesus Christ. The Priory, therefore, was formed to ensure that this sacred bloodline would be protected at all costs. The connection between the Priory of Chaon and the Templars, while highly speculative and controversial, remains a powerful and alluring idea for those interested in hidden history. For believers in this theory, the Priory represents a continuation of the Templar mission, a network of individuals sworn to safeguard the secrets of the Grail and the true royal bloodline, even if it meant operating behind the veil of secrecy for centuries. The organization's mysterious nature, combined with its alleged ties to powerful European families, has led some to speculate that the Priory is more than just a fictional construct or a modern-day hoax. Rather, it is the modern-day incarnation of the Templars' clandestine legacy. While these theories and secret societies may sound like the stuff of fiction or conspiracy, there are historical elements that lend some weight to these ideas. Throughout history, there have been numerous instances where powerful individuals, political movements, and even entire nations seem to adopt the symbols, rituals, or philosophies associated with the Templars. This raises an important question. Could the Templars have deliberately planted their influence in certain corners of society to ensure their survival? If so, what was the ultimate goal behind such persistence? One of the most compelling elements of the Templar story is their association with the Holy Grail. The idea that the Grail is more than just a cup, but rather a repository of ancient, transformative knowledge, is central to many Templar-related conspiracy theories. This knowledge, according to some, is capable of unlocking the secrets of human existence, revealing the true nature of God and the universe. Some believe that the Grail is not merely a physical artifact, but a key to understanding the hidden forces that govern reality itself. It is said that the Templars, having discovered the true nature of the Grail, became the sole custodians of this sacred knowledge. But their task was not simply to protect the artifact. It was to ensure that the knowledge within it would not be lost or misused by those who could not comprehend its significance. The Templars' association with the Grail is more than just a religious or spiritual matter. It is also one of political and cultural power. If the Templars held the key to unlocking this knowledge, they would have controlled not just spiritual truth, but also the ability to shape the course of history. The Grail, as a symbol of divine wisdom, could potentially confer immense influence, both in the spiritual realm and in the material world. Therefore, the Templars' quest to guard it was not just a matter of faith, but of securing power over the very forces that shape human destiny. Yet, despite their incredible wealth and influence, the Templars' role in history seems to have been erased, or at least obscured. Their very existence was denounced by the Vatican, their wealth confiscated, and their leaders tortured and executed. In the centuries that followed, the official narrative of their downfall became accepted as the truth. But was this simply a cover-up, a convenient way of erasing an order that had become too powerful, too dangerous to be allowed to exist? This is where the Templar mythos takes on its most intriguing aspect, their potential role in shaping the future. The Templars' continued presence in the world, hidden within the secret societies that emerged after their fall, suggests that their quest for hidden knowledge, power, and influence did not end with their public dissolution. In fact, it may have only just begun. The Templars' deep connection to the esoteric mysteries, their purported control over hidden royal bloodlines, and their mastery of symbols and rituals have all contributed to the enduring fascination with their legacy. Whether it's through the Freemasons, the Priory of Chaon, or other secret societies, the Templars' influence persists in the corridors of power, the art of governance, and the pursuit of divine wisdom. In this way, the Templar story is not just a historical tale, but a living mystery, one that continues to evolve and unfold with each passing year. The question is not whether the Templars are still with us, but how their influence continues to shape the world, even as the mysteries of their past remain hidden. As long as the symbols they left behind continue to resonate, and as long as the quest for ultimate knowledge and power persists, the Templar's shadow will continue to stretch across history, guiding or perhaps manipulating the course of events in ways that remain largely unseen. In our exploration of the Knights Templar, it is impossible to ignore the myriad of theories and legends that surround their supposed treasure. Lost to history, hidden from the eyes of the powerful, the Templars' wealth has become one of the most tantalizing aspects of their enduring mystery. When King Philip IV of France, desperate for the vast fortunes amassed by the Templars, orchestrated the arrest and execution of their leaders in 1307, he effectively set in motion a series of events that would fuel centuries of speculation. What happened to the treasure? Was it hidden, or did it simply vanish? While mainstream historians argue that the Templars' wealth was confiscated and dispersed upon their fall, alternative theories suggest otherwise. According to various legends, the Templars, aware of the looming danger, managed to hide their treasure long before the arrest warrants were issued. The question then becomes, where did they hide it? Where, in the vast reaches of Europe and beyond, could the Templars have concealed their immense wealth, both in material riches and in ancient, sacred relics? One theory that has persisted for centuries suggests that the Templars buried their treasure in one of the many castles and fortresses they controlled across Europe. Among the most famous of these locations is the Château de Geysers in France. This medieval stronghold, once a key Templar site, has long been rumored to harbor hidden secrets, from treasure to documents containing esoteric knowledge. Geysers has become a focal point for treasure hunters and historians alike, with many believing that the Templars used the castle as a final hiding place for their most precious possessions, including the Holy Grail and other sacred relics. The mystery surrounding Geysers deepened in the 18th and 19th centuries when the French philosopher and historian Thierry de Montbreuil discovered strange symbols carved into the stonework of the castle's walls. These symbols, some believe, bear a striking resemblance to Templar iconography, particularly the rose, a symbol that is often associated with both the Templars and the legendary Priory of Chaon. The connection between these symbols and the Templars has fueled speculation that the treasure was not simply material wealth, but a repository of sacred knowledge, perhaps tied to the Grail or the Ark of the Covenant itself. However, Geysers is not the only possible hiding place for the Templars' treasure. Another prominent theory points to the New World. Could it be that the Templars, fearing the confiscation of their wealth and the erasure of their order, fled across the Atlantic, taking their treasure with them? Some researchers have suggested that the Templars were among the first Europeans to set foot in the Americas, long before Columbus. If true, this would make the Templars not only the guardians of secret knowledge, but also the forerunners of European exploration in the New World. The idea that the Templars may have reached America before Columbus is based on several pieces of circumstantial evidence. There are reports of Templar symbols found in ancient Native American ruins, including carvings of crosses and other Christian iconography. Some historians even point to the so-called Bat Creek Stone, an artifact discovered in Tennessee in the 19th century, which bears an inscription that some believe to be of Templar origin. While mainstream scholars dismiss such claims as speculative, The idea that the Templars had a hand in the exploration of the Americas continues to captivate the imaginations of many. In addition to the New World theory, another fascinating possibility is that the Templars might have hidden their treasure within the mysterious underground catacombs of Europe. These subterranean networks, which run beneath cities like Paris, Rome, and London, have long been a source of fascination for historians and treasure hunters. Some believe that the Templars used these tunnels to secretly transport their wealth and sacred relics, hiding them deep within the earth, beyond the reach of any would-be confiscators. One location that has become a focal point for such theories is the famous Templar Vault in the underground catacombs of Paris. Discovered in the 18th century by French Freemasons, this vault is said to contain the remnants of Templar rituals, along with evidence of the treasure they once possessed. The discovery of this vault, coupled with the ongoing mystery surrounding the Templar catacombs, has led some to believe that the Templars' treasure is still hidden beneath the streets of Paris, waiting to be uncovered. But the Templars' treasure was not just gold and silver. It was in many ways symbolic of the deeper knowledge they guarded. The wealth they amassed during their time as bankers for the church, as well as their military endeavors, is often overshadowed by the theories about the relics they supposedly hid. The Holy Grail, the Ark of the Covenant, and other ancient artifacts, each believed to possess immense spiritual and metaphysical power, were central to the Templars' legacy. These relics, said to be the true treasures of the Templar Order, have captured the collective imagination for centuries, from the Crusades to the modern-day search for lost artifacts. The Holy Grail, in particular, holds a special place in Templar lore. While it is often imagined as a simple chalice, a cup used by Jesus during the Last Supper, many believe that the Grail is something far more complex and far more elusive. According to some theories, the Grail is not a physical object at all, but rather a key to accessing hidden knowledge, a means of unlocking the divine and gaining insight into the mysteries of life, death, and the universe. The Templars, it is believed, uncovered the true nature of the Grail, and their mission became one of safeguarding not just the artifact itself, but the spiritual and metaphysical truths it contained. The possibility that the Grail and other relics were hidden by the Templars has led to countless searches over the centuries. These relics, many believe, are not just symbols of Christian faith, but are linked to much older, pre-Christian traditions. Some theories suggest that the Grail is tied to ancient pagan rituals connected to the earth, the cycles of nature, and the power of human consciousness. The Templars, in their pursuit of knowledge, may have uncovered these ancient mysteries and, fearing the consequences of revealing them to the public, chose to hide them away in secret locations, ensuring that only those with the proper initiation could access their power. Yet, the Templars' treasure, whether material or spiritual, has remained elusive, leaving a trail of tantalizing clues and cryptic symbols in its wake. From the hidden chambers beneath Rosslyn Chapel in Scotland to the deep, labyrinthine tunnels beneath the streets of Paris, the search for the Templar treasure continues to captivate adventurers, scholars, and conspiracy theorists alike. As we look to the future, the mystery of the treasure persists, a puzzle that may never fully be solved. But one thing is certain. The Templars left behind more than just gold and jewels. They left a legacy of hidden knowledge, waiting to be discovered by those daring enough to seek it. As we continue our journey through the labyrinthine world of the Templars and their enduring mysteries, it is crucial to understand the deep connection between their legacy and the hidden knowledge they are said to have preserved. For centuries, the Templars have been rumored to have possessed secrets that, if revealed, could change the course of history. These secrets were not simply material wealth or military strategies. They were the very foundations of ancient wisdom, sacred teachings, and esoteric knowledge that have been kept concealed from the public eye. The Templars were more than just knights and bankers. They were guardians of secrets that transcended time and religion, knowledge that connected the earthly to the divine, the physical to the metaphysical. One of the most captivating aspects of the Templars' secret knowledge is their connection to the ancient mysteries of the world. From the mysteries of Egypt to the teachings of the ancient Druids, the Templars are thought to have had access to a wealth of knowledge passed down from the ancient world. This knowledge, often referred to as esoteric wisdom, is said to hold the key to understanding the true nature of the universe, humanity's place within it, and the hidden forces that govern both. But where did the Templars acquire such knowledge? And what exactly did they uncover during their time in the Holy Land? The answer, according to some theorists, lies in the very heart of the Templars' origins. Many believe that the Knights Templar were not just a military order, but rather a group of initiates who were deeply involved in the study and preservation of ancient religious and philosophical traditions. The Templars, it is argued, were exposed to these mysteries during their time in Jerusalem, where they not only protected Christian pilgrims, but also uncovered ancient knowledge hidden beneath the city's sacred streets. Jerusalem, with its complex history as a crossroads of various cultures and religions, has long been regarded as a city of immense spiritual significance. It is here, some suggest, that the Templars first encountered the hidden teachings that would shape their worldview and their secretive nature. The most famous of these teachings is thought to be the knowledge of the ancient Hebrew Kabbalah, a mystical system that seeks to reveal the hidden, divine aspects of the universe and the human soul. Some theories propose that the Templars were initiated into the study of Kabbalah, and that the teachings of this esoteric tradition formed the foundation of their secret knowledge. Others argue that the Templars were exposed to even older, pre-Judeo-Christian mysteries, those of the ancient Egyptians. Some believe that the Templars, in their search for the Holy Grail and other sacred relics, stumbled upon ancient Egyptian wisdom buried beneath the surface of Jerusalem. This theory draws heavily on the idea that the Grail is not merely a Christian relic, but a symbol of a much older, universal truth that spans across civilizations. The Templars, according to this view, were not just protecting Christian artifacts, but were also safeguarding the keys to ancient knowledge that had been passed down from Egypt to Greece and later to the Jewish Kabbalists. If the Templars truly had access to this ancient wisdom, it would explain many of the symbols and rituals that have become synonymous with their order. The Templar cross, for example, is often associated with both Christian and pre-Christian traditions, representing the balance between the physical and spiritual realms. Similarly, the Templars' use of geometric symbols, such as the five-pointed star and the sacred circle, is thought to have ties to ancient mystery schools, including the Pythagorean Brotherhood and the Egyptian priesthood. But the question remains, why would the Templars go to such lengths to preserve this knowledge? And why would they choose to keep it hidden from the public eye? The answer, as many conspiracy theorists suggest, lies in the power that this knowledge grants. Esoteric knowledge, particularly of the kind that the Templars are said to have guarded, has long been believed to confer immense power, both spiritual and temporal. The ability to understand the hidden laws of the universe, to comprehend the divine order that governs creation, would have placed the Templars in a position of unparalleled influence. The knowledge they possessed could potentially allow them to manipulate reality itself, or at least to gain control over the forces that shape human society. One of the most tantalizing aspects of the Templars' esoteric knowledge is the connection it is believed to have with the ancient concept of alchemy. Alchemy, often associated with the pursuit of turning base metals into gold, is actually far more than just a physical process. At its core, alchemy is about transformation, transforming the self, transcending the limitations of the material world, and attaining spiritual enlightenment. The Templars, it is theorized, were masters of alchemy, not in the sense of turning lead into gold, but in the sense of unlocking the deeper mysteries of the soul and the universe. The Templars' connection to alchemy is often symbolized by the mythical philosopher's stone, an object said to have the ability to grant eternal life and infinite wisdom. According to some theories, the Philosopher's Stone was not a physical object at all, but a metaphor for the hidden knowledge the Templars possessed. It was this knowledge, this alchemical transformation of the soul, that they sought to protect and preserve. The Grail, in this context, may also represent a kind of alchemical vessel, a receptacle for divine wisdom that could lead to enlightenment and eternal life. The idea of the Templars as alchemists and guardians of esoteric wisdom is further reinforced by the symbolism found in many of their monuments and rituals. Take, for example, the famous Temple Church in London, built by the Templars in the 12th century. The church, with its round nave and intricate carvings, is said to contain hidden symbols that point to ancient knowledge that the Templars sought to pass on to future generations. These symbols, like the geometry of the church itself, suggest a deep understanding of both the physical and metaphysical realms, and they continue to fascinate those who study the Templar legacy. Despite the secrecy surrounding their knowledge, it is clear that the Templars were not just a military order, but a group of intellectuals and spiritual seekers. They were, at their core, initiates into a larger, hidden tradition, one that connected them to the ancient mysteries of the world and gave them access to the power of the divine. This knowledge, far from being lost or forgotten, is believed to have survived in various forms, passed down through secret societies and occult traditions, and continues to influence modern-day thinkers, alchemists, and spiritual seekers. The Templars' legacy of hidden knowledge, therefore, is not just a relic of the past, but a living tradition, a tradition that continues to captivate and inspire those who seek to uncover the mysteries of the universe. Whether through their connection to the Holy Grail, their mastery of alchemical secrets, or their preservation of ancient wisdom, the Templars left behind a treasure far more valuable than gold. They left behind the keys to understanding the deeper mysteries of existence, a treasure that, for those who are willing to seek it, is still waiting to be discovered. The enigma of the Templars is not merely confined to their ancient secrets, their mysterious treasure, or their supposed connections to esoteric knowledge. One of the most fascinating and, at times, chilling aspects of their legacy is the way in which their story has been continuously woven into the fabric of modern conspiracy theories, hidden power structures, and secret societies. While many view the Templars as a relic of the past, an ancient military order whose time has long since passed, there exists a compelling theory that their influence did not end in the 14th century. Instead, the Templars are thought by some to have quietly survived, morphing into powerful, shadowy forces that operate in the background of modern society, still protecting their secrets and their influence over world events. The idea that the Templars never truly disappeared, but instead evolved into other organizations, has become a central theme of modern conspiracy theory and speculative history. The most prominent of these theories is that the Templars went underground after their official disbandment in 1312, eventually re-emerging as the Freemasons, a secret society that has long been associated with the preservation of occult knowledge and influence in high places. The Freemasons, like the Templars before them, are said to have operated in secrecy, using their esoteric teachings and rituals to form a hidden network of power that stretches across the globe. To understand how the Templars may have evolved into the Freemasons, one must look at the many shared elements between the two organizations. Both the Templars and the Freemasons have been deeply involved in the preservation of secret knowledge, passed down through generations, often in the form of coded symbols, rituals, and allegories. Freemasonry, with its intricate system of degrees and secret handshakes, has been likened to a modern-day continuation of the Templar tradition, with many of the symbols used by the Freemasons, such as the square and compass, tracing their origins back to Templar iconography. One of the key elements that links the Templars to the Freemasons is the idea of an ancient, hidden knowledge that is accessible only to those who are initiated into the order. Just as the Templars were said to guard sacred knowledge, from the mysteries of the Holy Grail to the secrets of alchemy, the Freemasons are believed to continue this tradition by passing down esoteric wisdom to their members. The initiation process, in which new members are sworn to secrecy and made to undergo various rites and rituals, is often compared to the Templars' own process of initiation into the mysteries of the order. The Freemasons, however, are not the only organization said to have inherited the Templar legacy. Some theories suggest that the Templars' influence extends to a number of other secret societies, including the Illuminati, the Rosicrucians, and even the Order of the Golden Dawn. These groups, often described as shadowy elites operating behind the scenes, are believed to share a common goal: the preservation and expansion of the Templars' esoteric knowledge and influence. In this sense, the Templars' legacy is said to have transcended its original form, evolving into a network of interconnected societies that continue to shape world events from the shadows. One of the most intriguing aspects of the theory that the Templars survived and evolved into modern secret societies is the role they are said to play in global politics. According to various conspiracy theorists, the Templars, through their various offshoots, have been manipulating world events for centuries, ensuring that the global power structures remain in their favor. Some believe that the Templars have been involved in key historical events, such as the American Revolution, the French Revolution, and even the rise of modern financial systems. Their influence, it is suggested, can be traced through the involvement of key historical figures who were members of secret societies, from George Washington and Benjamin Franklin to Winston Churchill and other powerful world leaders. This theory, of course, is not without its critics. Skeptics argue that there is no concrete evidence to support the claim that the Templars survived after their fall in the 14th century. While it is true that secret societies like the Freemasons have existed for centuries, there is little definitive proof that they are directly linked to the Templars. The lack of concrete historical evidence only fuels the conspiracy, allowing for endless speculation about the true nature of these organizations and their role in shaping modern history. However, it is important to consider the cultural and historical context in which these theories emerged. Throughout history, secret societies have often been associated with power, wealth, and hidden influence. The idea that shadowy elites are secretly controlling world events has long been a popular theme in conspiracy theories. The Templars, with their mysterious wealth and knowledge, make for an ideal subject in this context. Their sudden disappearance, followed by centuries of speculation about their survival and influence, has ensured that their legend continues to captivate the imagination of those who seek to uncover the hidden forces shaping the world. But the idea that the Templars' legacy persists in modern times is not just the domain of conspiracy theorists. There are those who believe that the Templars' influence is visible in the symbols and rituals that continue to permeate modern society. For instance, many of the symbols associated with Freemasonry, such as the all-seeing eye, are also thought to have Templar origins. The idea of the Eye of Providence, for example, is often linked to the Templars' belief in divine oversight and their connection to higher knowledge. The placement of this symbol on the Great Seal of the United States and on the back of the dollar bill has sparked endless debate about the true nature of American power and its potential Templar connections. Similarly, the global banking system, which the Templars once helped to establish, continues to play a central role in shaping world affairs. The Templars were pioneers in the development of banking systems, and their vast financial influence was one of the reasons for their downfall. Today, some believe that the banking world remains under the control of powerful secret societies, including those descended from the Templars, who continue to manipulate the global economy for their benefit. Whether or not one subscribes to these theories, the connection between the Templars and the financial world is undeniable, and it speaks to the enduring legacy of the Order's influence. As we look at the modern world, The notion that the Templars' secrets have been passed down through generations, preserved by powerful secret societies, remains an enduring mystery. Whether one believes in the existence of these shadowy organizations or not, the idea that a hidden hand continues to shape history is a concept that resonates with many. The Templars, who once operated in the shadows, guarding their secrets from the prying eyes of the powerful, may have simply moved their influence underground, where it continues to guide the course of world events, just as it did centuries ago. In the end, whether the Templars survive as a secret society or whether their influence continues in the modern world is a question that may never be answered. But one thing is certain: the Templar story is far from over. Their legacy, their secrets, and their enduring influence continue to captivate those who seek to understand the hidden forces that shape our world. And perhaps, in time, the true nature of the Templars' power and their role in modern society will be revealed. Until then, the Templars remain a shadowy force, a symbol of secrecy, power, and mystery, forever embedded in the annals of history, waiting to be uncovered by those brave enough to seek the truth. The shadow of the Templars continues to loom large in modern culture, not only in secret societies or speculative theories, but in the very foundations of some of the most well-known symbols and structures of contemporary life. Across the globe, from the grand cathedrals of Europe to the streets of Washington, D.C., symbols linked to the Templars appear in the most unexpected places, suggesting that their legacy may have left a lasting mark on history in ways we might not fully comprehend. Take, for example, the intricate iconography of the Templar cross. The symbol, often associated with crusading knights, has evolved over time, appearing in religious and civic contexts far beyond its original purpose. The Templar cross can be found not only in medieval churches, but also in the design of national flags and governmental seals, including the emblem of the Knights Hospitaller, who were once rivals to the Templars, and even on modern institutions, such as universities or military regiments, hinting at the possibility that the Templars' influence never truly faded from the world stage. Similarly, the mysterious role of the Templars in the foundations of the United States remains a subject of deep intrigue. From the enigmatic presence of Templar-like symbolism in the architecture of Washington, D.C., to the debated implications of the all-seeing eye on the U.S. dollar, these connections continue to fuel speculation that the Templars, or their descendants, have influenced the very birth of modern democracy. As we search for the truth behind these symbols, we are left with more questions than answers. Questions that suggest the Templar secrets may have been woven into the very fabric of our modern world, waiting patiently for someone to uncover them. In the final revelation, the legend of the Templar bloodline transforms from a tale of noble descent into something far greater, a story of consciousness itself. The blood that flowed through the ancient orders may have carried more than genetics. It may have preserved memory, resonance, and light. Across centuries, this lineage guarded not only knowledge, but the pattern of awakening itself, a living code passed through time. Science now whispers what mystics long proclaimed. Memory can live in DNA, and spirit may travel through generations. The true inheritance, then, is the light within every human soul. As the final embers of the Templar legacy flicker through history, what remains is not ruin, but remembrance. The order may have crumbled in the eyes of kings, yet its essence flows silently through time, an invisible architecture of spirit and story. Across the centuries, echoes of their creed appear in the designs of cathedrals, the symbols of secret societies, and the quiet conviction of those who seek truth beyond power. The temple, once built of stone, now exists within every heart that longs for wisdom and balance. Perhaps that was the Templars' true triumph, to plant an idea so enduring that even persecution could not extinguish it. The bloodlines they guarded, whether of divine descent or awakened consciousness, have mingled with the world, dissolving distinction, spreading light through generations. The sacred has become ordinary, hidden in plain sight. Each act of courage, compassion, or curiosity rekindles that inner flame, the same one they once vowed to protect beneath a crimson cross. If the Templars' journey began beneath the Temple Mount, it ends here, in us. For the true temple is built of memory, hope, and human spirit. The Knights' oaths, whispered through centuries, now return as a single truth, that the light they served was never theirs to keep. It belongs to all who remember. And as long as even one soul carries that remembrance forward, the temple stands, eternal, unseen, and alive in the pulse of humanity itself.